Hello, my name is Josh Beers, and I have the privilege that I'm looking forward to of joining you in just a few weeks for our men's retreat. As a little bit about myself, I currently serve as the president of One Life, which is a 9-month gap year program that basically we are challenging young men and young ladies to take our often distracted lives and fix it on the only reason to live. Our mission is to develop and launch servant leaders to live out their faith in every area of life, and it's just a great joy and privilege for me to come alongside young people and pour into their life every single day and help them figure out the on-ramp to the rest of their life as they launch from high school into career and college and whatever path God takes them on. Been investing my life into young people now for almost 30 years. I'm getting old, but I've had the privilege of playing tiny, small parts in lives like your own pastor, Dave Trepanier, and just the joy it is to be part of their journey for a season of time. And again, now they have the opportunity to come back and spend time with you as a ministry and to invest together in one another is super encouraging to me. So just a quick word to you. Today I'd like to just share a word to you from the book of John, something that God's just challenged me with. Most of us cell phones, I actually am recording on this right now, so I can't reach for it, but I find myself reaching for my pocket often when it vibrates or when it rings. So many things come at us. For a lot of people, we almost feel like an attachment to it, like it's a part of our appendage. Yet in John 15, Jesus reminds us of the importance of staying connected and attached to Him. My mom grew up in Poland and studied horticulture and all kinds of things with gardening. I'm not an expert other than I've snapped a lot of beans in my lifetime. But she's an amazing gardener. But one thing I've learned with gardening is if we're not attached, there's no growth that's going to take place. And one of the reminders I want to give us this week is to ask ourselves, are we staying attached in our relationship with God and our relationship with one another? Because we can't be healthy if we're not attached. In John 15, I encourage you to read those first 11 verses. It's fascinating to me to look and understand that in the reality of this passage, Jesus mentions bearing fruit 8 times. We want to make an impact with our lives as men. We want to make a difference in people's lives. We live in a results-driven culture. I feel that pressure in my role in leadership and responsibilities. And the reality of it is, while Jesus mentions bearing fruit 8 times, He mentions abiding in me 9 times. Perhaps the secret to our bearing fruit and making an impact in this world is spending time making sure that we stay attached to the one who is the reason for every blessing and every victory that happens in our lives. For me, it's just a reminder to be first and then do. God created me as a human being, not just a human doing. And we can be pulled a lot of directions as men, and the pressures and weights of responsibility we feel are great. And this passage just reminds me again, abide in Him. Take the pressure off of all the things I have to do and start with my attachment to my relationship with God and then the people that are in my life. And what's going to take place in it is we're going to see God's constant, consistent work in our life. We're going to see more and lasting fruit. And then we have access. I love verse 7 that reminds us we have access to the Father for anything. And then He promises fullness of joy in verse 11. So just some powerful, encouraging words. I hope there'll be a foundation for what we're going to cover in our time together. While I'm there, we're going to dig a little bit into the book of 1 John. And then just spend some time saying, how do we sharpen one another? How do we live authentically and transparently with one another as we pursue Christ together and let His grace and mercy fill in all the gaps in our lives? So looking forward to being with each one of you. So thankful for the truths of God's Word that anchors us. And I pray that together we will stay attached to Him as we walk through this week.